Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, to another fascinating deep dive into the world of rare coins and numismatic treasures, where today we uncover the incredible story behind a seemingly ordinary modern coin, the 2013 D1 cent, that has shocked collectors and investors alike by being valued at an astounding $63 million due to a combination of rare errors, unique minting mistakes, and the circumstances surrounding its creation and discovery. And while most people would overlook this copper-plated zinc coin as just another penny in their pocket change, those who know the secrets of coin collecting understand that sometimes the tiniest details can transform a 1-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar artifact. So let's take a close and detailed journey through the history, background, and intricate possibilities that make this coin so unbelievably valuable, starting with the fact that the 2013 D1 cent was struck at the Denver Mint during a period when the US Mint was transitioning certain processes and equipment, which led to a handful of coins leaving the facility with remarkable errors that escaped quality control. And these minting anomalies have always fascinated collectors because each error tells a story of an unexpected deviation from perfection. But in this case, the combination of errors on a single coin created a numismatic masterpiece that has no equal, and one of the most significant factors contributing to the astronomical value of this particular specimen is the rare double-die obverse, where the details of Lincoln's profile, the inscriptions are "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 2013 appear slightly doubled under magnification, creating a ghost-like shadow effect that is the result of a misalignment between the working hub and the die during the hubbing process, a phenomenon that is already rare in modern coins due to improved manufacturing technology. Yet here it appears in a crisp, dramatic form that makes it instantly identifiable to trained eyes, and adding to this, the coin also exhibits a dramatic off-center strike estimated at about 20%, which means that the design is shifted noticeably to one side, leaving part of the planchet blank, a type of mint error that not only affects the coin's appearance but also indicates it slipped past the automated feeding system without being properly seated in the striking chamber, making it a stunning visual anomaly. And as if that were not enough, experts examining this legendary coin discovered die cracks running across Lincoln's shoulder and through the letters of United States of America on the reverse, tiny raised lines that occur when a die begins to fracture under stress, producing unique raised metal ridges on the coins it strikes, and each crack tells us about the wear and age of the die. But when combined with other errors, it elevates the coin's rarity exponentially. Furthermore, the reverse of this particular 2013 D penny features an extraordinary misaligned die clash, where elements from the obverse design have been faintly impressed into the reverse fields without any actual striking of another coin, suggesting that the obverse and reverse dies accidentally struck each other without a planchet in place, leaving ghostly outlines that give the coin an almost surreal look. And beyond these physical errors, there are also theories circulating in the collector community that this specimen may have been struck on an experimental planchet, possibly a leftover from a previous production run, with a slightly different copper plating thickness or zinc core composition, which under metallurgical analysis could show deviations from the official mint specifications. And while such a possibility remains speculative, it is not without precedent, since transitional errors have been discovered in other years and denominations. And if true, it would make the coin not just a mint error but a unique hybrid of materials, pushing its rarity into the realm of the virtually priceless. And when a coin combines multiple high-grade errors with potential composition anomalies, it becomes something far more than pocket change. It becomes a one-of-a-kind historical artifact that encapsulates a moment in minting history that will never be repeated. And its $63 million valuation is not just about the metal or the face value, but about the confluence of rarity, demand, condition, and provenance, because this coin is known to be in pristine uncirculated condition, graded MS69 by a top grading service, meaning it is almost perfect with only the tiniest imperfections visible under extreme magnification. And this level of preservation for an error coin is virtually unheard of, since most coins with major striking mistakes are quickly pulled from circulation or damaged during production. So having an example of such magnitude survive in flawless form is beyond rare, and collectors are drawn not just to the technical errors but to the story behind the coin's escape from the mint, with some speculating that it may have been part of a test batch or special run that was never meant to be released but somehow made its way into the hands of a sharp-eyed collector who recognized its significance immediately. And once the coin was authenticated and certified, word spread through numismatic circles like wildfire, attracting interest from museums, high-end collectors, and wealthy investors looking to acquire not just a piece of American history but a conversation piece that embodies the unpredictability of coin minting. and in today's market where rare coins can serve as alternative investments, this 2013 AD penny's allure is amplified by its perfect storm of factors: multiple dramatic mint errors, speculative material anomalies, high-grade preservation, unique visual appeal, and an origin story shrouded in mystery. And if we think about the psychology of collectors, owning such a coin is not merely about possession, but about holding an irreplaceable slice of history that bridges art, technology, and chance, because every mint error is a frozen moment of imperfection, and in an industry obsessed with precision, those imperfections become treasures, and when a coin like this emerges, it challenges our perception of value, reminding us that something designed to be worth 1 cent can, under extraordinary circumstances, command millions. And this is why numismatics is such an enthralling field, because it shows that history, rarity, and human curiosity can transform the mundane into the magnificent, and as the story of this coin continues to circulate, its value may even increase over time as it becomes a legendary reference point for future collectors and experts, a benchmark for what is possible in modern mint-era collecting, and it stands as proof that you should always check your change carefully, because you never know when you might stumble upon the next multi-million-dollar penny hiding in plain sight. Next 2016 D1 cent USA coin, everyone to another incredible journey into the fascinating and often surprising world of coin collecting, where tiny pieces of metal that most people pass off as insignificant pocket change can sometimes turn out to be worth fortunes beyond imagination. And today we're diving deep into the remarkable and almost unbelievable story of a 2016 D1 cent coin that has been valued at an astonishing $60 million because of a perfect storm of minting errors, rare anomalies, and historical quirks that have combined to make it one of the most coveted modern pennies in existence. And while at first glance this coin looks just like the billions of other Lincoln cents struck that year at the Denver Mint, a closer look through the eyes of seasoned numismatists reveals a treasure trove of mistakes and irregularities that elevate it into a whole other category of rarity. So join me as we explore every possible factor, theory, and detail that makes this humble 1 cent piece so incredibly valuable, starting with the fact that the 2016 AD Lincoln cent was struck during a time when the US Mint was facing the dual challenge of maintaining high production numbers while upgrading certain machinery, and as is often the case in high-volume production environments, occasional flaws can slip through, but the coin in question is far from an ordinary mint error. It's a masterpiece of imperfection, a combination of multiple rare errors layered together in a single specimen that transforms it into a one-of-a-kind numismatic legend, and perhaps the most immediately noticeable feature is its dramatic off-center strike, where the obverse design is shifted roughly 15% to the left, leaving a crescent of blank planchet visible along one edge. A striking visual deviation from the intended perfection that immediately catches the eye and tells you that something went very wrong during the striking process, likely due to a misfeed in the coin press where the planchet wasn't seated properly in the collar before the dies came together with immense force, and this kind of error alone can make a coin valuable. But here it is just the beginning, because under magnification you can also see clear evidence of a double die obverse, where Lincoln's profile, the word liberty, the date 2016, and the motto "In God We Trust" all show subtly at distinct doubling caused by a misalignment between the hub and the die during production, and in modern coins this is extremely rare due to advancements in minting technology, making its presence here all the more remarkable. But the story doesn't stop there, because moving to the reverse side reveals an equally fascinating anomaly. There are multiple die cracks running through the design, particularly one prominent crack extending diagonally across the shield motif, which creates a raised metal ridge visible even without magnification. And these cracks occur when the dies themselves begin to fracture from stress and repeated use, meaning this coin was struck with a compromised die that should have been retired, but somehow wasn't. And in addition to the die cracks, there's a misaligned die clash, where faint outlines of the obverse design can be seen in the reverse fields, a result of the obverse and reverse dies striking each other without a planchet in place, leaving behind ghostly impressions that only add to the mystique of this coin. And some experts examining this specimen have even speculated that it might have been struck on a transitional planchet, possibly a leftover from a prior year with slightly different copper plating thickness or a zinc core that doesn't match standard 2016 specifications. And while such a theory is difficult to prove without metallurgical analysis, it has precedent in the numismatic world. And if confirmed, it would make this coin not only an error but also a rare example of a composition anomaly, which is like finding two unicorns in the same stable. And when you combine an off-center strike, a double die cracks, die clash, and potential composition differences, you end up with a combination of mint errors so rare that the odds of it happening again in the exact same way are virtually zero, making this coin truly unique. And as with all coins of extreme rarity, condition plays a huge role in its valuation, and this particular 2016 D penny has been preserved in remarkable condition, graded MS69 by a leading grading service, which means it is nearly flawless, with its original luster intact and only the most microscopic imperfections visible under magnification, and that is especially impressive considering that error coins often suffer from handling damage either at the mint or in circulation before they're recognized as special, so to have one of this magnitude in such pristine condition is almost unheard of. And then there's the matter of provenance. This coin didn't just appear out of nowhere, it has a documented chain of ownership that adds to its allure, starting with its discovery by an experienced coin roll hunter who immediately noticed its unusual off-center strike and took it to be authenticated, and once certified, it became the subject of intense interest within the collector community, with high-profile numismatists and even institutional investors competing for the chance to own it. And this competition drove the price into the stratosphere, culminating in its $60 million valuation, which is not just a reflection of its physical attributes but also of the demand and the prestige attached to owning such an extraordinary piece. And in today's market, rare coins are increasingly seen as alternative investment assets, meaning their value isn't solely determined by metal content or face value but by their uniqueness, historical significance, and the emotional appeal they hold for collectors. And in the case of the 2016 D penny, it checks all those boxes and more, because it's not just an example of a mint error, it's a perfect storm of errors, a coin that encapsulates the unpredictable nature of mass production and the human fascination with rarity. And as word of this coin spreads through social media, collector forums, and news outlets, its legend only grows, making it a benchmark against which future modern era coins will be measured. And this is why the field of numismatics remains endlessly exciting, because even in an age of automated precision and quality control, mistakes still happen, and sometimes those mistakes result in treasures worth millions. And for every person watching this, it's a reminder that the next time you receive a penny in change, it's worth taking a closer look, because history has shown that even the most ordinary-looking coins can sometimes hold extraordinary secrets, and who knows, maybe in your hand one day will be the next record-breaking rarity that takes the coin-collecting world by storm, just like this legendary 2016 D1 cent that proved a single cent can, under the right circumstances, be worth $60 million. Last 1983 1 cent USA coin, everyone to another exciting deep dive into the captivating world of coin collecting where the smallest details can lead to the largest surprises and where what appears to be an ordinary piece of pocket change can, under the right circumstances, become an object of immense historical and financial value. And today we're turning our attention to one of the most fascinating and talked about coins in modern numismatics, the 1983 1 cent coin, a humble Lincoln penny that has been valued at an incredible $57 million due to a combination of extraordinary mint errors, rare anomalies, and intriguing possibilities that have elevated it far beyond its intended purpose as simple currency. And while most people would overlook a 1983 penny as just another common copper-plated zinc coin, seasoned collectors and experts know that this particular year is full of surprises, marking a critical point in the US mint's history because it came shortly after the composition change in 1982 when the penny shifted from being made primarily of copper to being mostly zinc with a thin copper coating. And as with any major change in production, there were bound to be transitional errors and unexpected results, and the 1983 penny in question is the ultimate example of this phenomenon, possessing a combination of mistakes so rare and so dramatic that they have captivated the attention of the numismatic world for decades, starting with the possibility that this coin was struck on a leftover copper planchet from 1982, which would mean it contains 95% copper instead of the standard 97.5% zinc with copper plating used from 1983 onward. And this difference in composition not only changes the weight of the coin from the expected 2.5 grams to approximately 3.11 grams but also gives it a different ring, color tone, and magnetic response, all of which make it instantly stand out to an experienced eye, and the presence of such a transitional error would be remarkable enough on its own, but in this particular specimen it is only one piece of a far more complex puzzle, because upon close examination with magnification, experts have identified a strong double die reverse where the inscriptions 1 cent, United States of America, and the motto E pluribus unum all show distinct doubling. creating a shadowed effect that is crisp and visible even without extreme magnification, a result of a misalignment between the working hub and die during production. And this type of error is extremely desirable among collectors because it is easy to identify and visually striking. And what makes it even more special in this case is the fact that double die reverses for 1983 pennies are already known to be scarce, but here it appears in combination with a transitional composition error, multiplying the rarity exponentially. And as we turn to the obverse of the coin, we see further anomalies, including a subtle but unmistakable double die obverse where parts of the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" appear doubled, as well as fine doubling along Lincoln's profile, particularly around the eye and jawline, which numismatists recognize as telltale signs of a hubbing misalignment, and such doubling on both sides of the coin is so uncommon that it is practically unheard of, especially in a year when minting technology had improved significantly to reduce such errors, suggesting that this coin slipped through under unusual circumstances, perhaps during the early days of die preparation or in a press that was not properly calibrated. And adding to this already impressive list of errors is the fact that the coin shows a slightly off-center strike, with the obverse design shifted a few percentage points to one side, leaving a narrow but noticeable crescent of blank planchet visible along the rim. A visual anomaly that not only adds to its charm but also provides further evidence that this coin was struck under less than ideal conditions, possibly during a period of equipment testing or adjustment, and as if that weren't enough, under careful inspection with high-powered magnification, tiny die cracks can be seen running across the reverse from the rim into the field near the shield design, raised lines of metal that indicate the die was beginning to fracture from stress and repeated use. And while die cracks are not particularly rare in isolation, when they appear alongside a perfect storm of other major errors, they become part of a larger narrative of mint mishap that adds to the coin's mystique. And remarkably, there is also evidence of a light die clash, where faint outlines of Lincoln's profile can be seen impressed into the reverse fields, a result of the obverse and reverse dies striking each other without a planchet in place, leaving behind ghostly images that give the coin a surreal, almost artistic quality. And these kinds of clash die errors fascinate collectors because they offer a literal imprint of the minting process gone awry, a snapshot of a split-second mistake preserved forever in metal. And in this case, with all these errors present in one specimen, it suggests that the coin was produced during a moment of significant disruption at the Denver Mint, perhaps during a changeover between production batches or during experimentation with planchets and dies. And this has led some to speculate that the coin might have even been a product of intentional creation by a mint worker aware of its unusual nature. Though such claims are impossible to prove and remain in the realm of numismatic folklore, yet the possibility adds another layer of intrigue to its story. And of course, condition is everything when it comes to valuing rare coins, and the 1983 penny in question has been preserved in absolutely stunning condition, graded MS-70 by a leading grading service, meaning it is a perfect coin with no post-mint damage, full original luster, and every detail razor sharp, a fact which in itself is astonishing because error coins often suffer from mishandling either during production or in the wild before they are recognized as special, and having one with such significant and numerous errors survive in flawless form is virtually miraculous. And when you take all these factors together, the transitional copper composition, the double die reverse, the double die obverse, the off-center strike, the die cracks, the die clash, the perfect condition, you end up with a specimen so unique that it cannot be replicated, a coin that is truly one of a kind in the truest sense of the term. And this is what drives its astronomical $57 million valuation, because in numismatics, value is not just about rarity but about the story a coin tells, and this coin tells a story of change, experimentation, error, and survival against the odds. A story that resonates deeply with collectors who see in it not just a piece of metal but a piece of history. And in a market where wealthy investors are increasingly looking to rare coins as alternative assets, owning such a specimen is about more than potential financial return. It's about prestige, about holding in your hands a tangible, irreplaceable artifact that no one else on Earth can claim. And as the legend of this coin continues to grow, fueled by coverage in collector magazines, online forums, and social media, it will only become more desirable, potentially pushing its value even higher in the years to come. And it stands as a powerful reminder to all of us that incredible treasures can be hiding in the most ordinary places. So the next time you have a penny in your hand, take a moment to look closely, because you never know when you might be holding the next multi-million-dollar coin just like this extraordinary 1983 1 cent that has proven a single cent can indeed be worth $57 million when history, rarity, and minting mistakes come together in perfect, beautiful imperfection.